Thank you all for joining us. I am Lisa Nutt, your host for the EngageU podcast with the Tucson Association of Realtors. And today I am joined by Sean Cody, our Director of Government Affairs, and Representative Juan Ciscomani,
Hi.
Congressional District 6.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Good to see you again.
Congressman, about a month ago, you hosted TAR members, graciously hosted, I should say, in your office in DC as part of the NAR Legislative Conference. One of the issues we talked about was the Veteran Affairs rule prohibiting VA buyers from paying for buyer representation. When we left your office, the VA hit pause on that rule. Just curious as to what your thoughts are on that decision and the impacts on Southern Arizona specifically.
Well, like you said, the pause is temporary, but we need a permanent fix on this. I was pleased to welcome the group whenever people from the district show up and they fly literally across the country to go to Washington. I'm going to make some time for the people that are visiting. So I was happy to do that, and I'll do that for anyone, so we can work. I can learn about the issues that right there, my policy team in Washington can also learn about this. And that was, of course, more of a policy question. So we sent a letter to the VA on this. I'm in the Appropriations Committee. So besides being in the Veteran Affairs Committee, I get to be in the appropriations side of things. So we practically fund these agencies. So when we interject and we ask questions and we make phone calls, they see an appropriator calling, right? So that's a key position that we have in Congress, even as a freshman, why we're able to have the influence that we have. So it's very important to fight on this issue for our veterans and to be able to give them the options that they need and to keep it in an affordable way and not out of the market in that sense for not being able to afford the representation that others do. That is far from where we need to be. So I'll keep pushing on this. The rulemaking needs to be permanent on it, so we'll keep working on this.
Appreciate that.
Great. And of course, you can count on us to give you that insight.
Yes.
To help your teams, right, come up with the solutions. You were recently named the most bipartisan member of the Arizona delegation. What does that mean for CD6?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't even know that was a thing, like a ranking. When they gave me the news that I was the most bipartisan member from Arizona,
Yes.
I was, like I said, I was surprised in the sense that I didn't know it was a ranking that measured that. I wondered, what are they looking at? But looking at my record of working with people across the aisle just for solutions, especially on issues for veterans, for example, that's a great example to use. On saying, let's come together and find a solution that works for our veterans. It doesn't matter if you're a D or an R behind your name, you got to be able to work on these solutions. A lot of my bills for veterans and even border security have had Democrat support or co-sponsorship as well. I also led with Greg Stanton from Phoenix a delegation of bipartisan members of Congress to the border to look at what's happening there and be able to learn together from this. So I've taken many steps that just focus on solutions. And let me tell you this, when you focus on solutions and results, you're by nature going to work with people you don't agree with. And how well you can do that is how successful you're going to be in Congress and bringing results back home. That's my ultimate focus. How can we bring results and actually make things better? And you're going to have to work with people that you don't agree with, and that's okay.
Right. We usually end up with better solutions.
Yeah, you know what? And that's what needs to happen right now when you have a divided Congress, right? You have Republicans in the House, Democrats in the Senate, a Democrat president. If you want to get something through all the way, we're going to have to sometimes not get everything that you want. But if it's most of what you want, we got to be able to recognize those wins and say my community is going to be better off with this, even though it's not everything I wanted. We're going to be better off as a community.
You touched on your seat on appropriations, but share with us specifically how that benefits the region and more specifically Pima County and Southern Arizona.
Absolutely. So being in the Appropriations Committee, first of all, like I mentioned earlier, I'm the only freshman in Congress serving in the Appropriations Committee. I was appointed as soon as we got elected and we got sworn in, and that gives us a seat at the table where the decisions are being made on where the money goes. And one thing, we have to be fiscally responsible. The government is in huge debt, and we need to make sure that we are applying fiscal responsibility there. Also, on that note, is that part of the fiscal responsibility is funding the projects that make sense for our communities, where the federal government has a nexus that we can actually link it up and support our community. So as every member of Congress has the opportunity to apply for 15 projects to come back home for them, and they can fund certain things that make sense and that they can be, there's a lot of scrutiny on these projects. However, when you're not just applying to the Appropriations Committee, but you're actually a member in the Appropriations Committee, then all of a sudden I'm working on these projects from the inside. And that's why even as a freshman, I was able to lock in and secure $26 million coming back home last fiscal budget in projects for PIMA JTED, for example, and roads in rural parts of the district, in water infrastructure projects in different areas, hospitals, fire stations, all things that benefit our community that some of these entities don't have the tax base to be able to support that, but we're able to do that. Now this year, in my second round of requests, we've selected our 15 projects, and they're slowly making it through the process. But now instead of 26 million, our request is up in $73 million to come back to the district. We did, because we got to think big on this, and we have to fund things. For example, the police department in Tucson on the vehicle fleet. We saw what happened, the tragedy, and the officer that was involved in the accident with no airbags around because of the age and the wear down of the vehicle. Well, you know, the funding that we're requesting would replace the fleet of vehicles for Tucson Police Department. And we've got other projects like that. Water infrastructure is very, very important. So we have that over in the town of Duncan, Arizona, the first road being built in 45 years.
Wow.
And that will come from the funding that we're going to secure for that town. So it doesn't matter if it's Duncan, Arizona, over in Greenlee County, where it's the smallest part of the county, or Pima County, where the majority of the people live in my district, we're going to prioritize it all.
That type of targeted infrastructure investment also obviously has a broader economic impact.
100%. You're looking at now businesses being able to, you know, come in, set up shop, homes being built, access to roads, more schools. Actually, one of the projects is in the town of Pima. They're building a new school, but there's a stretch of road that can't get to the school without going through rough terrain. So our project is going to fund that road so that the kids can get to school safely. You build up that school, that's more on the economy as well. We're producing workforce for that region. So it just builds on itself. And again, what I'm focusing on is, what can we show for? All the time we invest in this, and traveling to Washington, doing all the things that we do, what do we have to show for at the end? I want to be able to point at things and measure some things and say, that's what we were able to do. It's not about the social media activity or the media interviews or how popular you are. It's what do you have to show for. Every job is like that. Congress should be like that as well.
The tangible results.
The tangible results, 1,000%.
Great. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule today, being at home in your district. And so we look forward to seeing you again. Anything else, Sean?
We're good.
Yeah.
Well, great. I flew in this morning. I've been nonstop all day, and the day's not done yet. So
we snuck in our own time.
Well, no, this is great. I think it's a great conversation. So glad to be with viewers at home as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take
All right,
care.
awesome. You guys are great.